Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So Bitcoin has been at the all-time high almost a year and a half now. And the topic of the altcoin season keeps showing up again and again. And honestly, this year alone, there were several times when everyone feel like it's finally started, but then it just turned out to be a fake one. I'm sure a lot of you, including myself, feeling a little frustrated. As we are approaching the end of 2025, we are all asking the same question: when will the real altcoin season actually come? So today we're going over why does the altcoin season in this cycle feel differently. Will it come by the end of 2025? I will break it down from a few angles and share my personal views on when we might see it started. First of all, let's look at Ethereum's price movement compared to the current cycle and the past cycles. Here I drew three yellow vertical lines, which represents Ethereum's 2018 high, 2021 high, and the all-time high that happened a week or two ago. So we can see between 2018 and 2021, Ethereum took around 1,400 days to hit a new high. So what about this cycle? It's almost 1,400 days already. So ETH used almost the same time, but it only broke its previous all-time high right now. This will tell us that ETH will take much longer to reach the cycle top this time. I also drew two gray lines. The first one is the date when ETH broke the previous all-time high on January 25, 2021. This date is important and we are going to use it later on. And the second gray line is when ETH reached the local high in the previous cycle before a major retracement, which is on May 10, 2021. So for ETH to reach the all-time high from the first gray line, it took 287 days. And for ETH to reach the second gray line, it took 105 days. Now let's look at the Cardano chart and compare with ETH. Here I used orange circles to highlight the dates when ETH broke the all-time high in the previous two cycles. We can see back in January 2021, when ETH broke its all-time high, ADA was still about 75% below its own peak. Let's fast forward to today. It's in a very similar position. Let's see this. Still roughly 75% down from its previous all-time high. Yep. So we can see what happened next last cycle. ADA absolutely exploded after that. So what I can see from this is in this current cycle, ADA still follows the same timeline compared to what it had been in the last cycle. Also, we can see on May 10, 2021, when ETH first reached its local top in the previous cycle, on the same day, price of ADA, let's draw a line here. So we can see Cardano reaches its own local high at the same time. If you watch my previous video about Cardano's price prediction, you know my thesis, which I believe in this cycle will only have one single top. So when Cardano reaches local high in this cycle, the price will be the highest. Remember, it only took 105 days for ETH to break the previous all-time high and then reach its local high. In fact, if we line up the timeline, ADA will hit its own peak roughly 105 days in this cycle. Let's go back to the Ethereum's chart and look at it. So if we apply the same timeline here, the altcoin season will take about 105 days roughly, and might actually stretch into the early December if we draw a line here. Next, let's check the total market cap excluding Bitcoin. The timing here is also very consistent. Both the last cycle and this one took about around 1,120 days to retest the previous highs. The only real difference is that the last cycle, altcoins topped out in about 280 days. And this time, we're already close to the number, but we haven't seen any explosive move yet. This is why so many people, including me, feel like this cycle is very slow. And if we look at the total three, the total market cap, excluding both Bitcoin and Ethereum, the conclusion is pretty much the same. Now, here's my personal take. I think the cycle's altcoin season will look very different. The mainstream coins will possibly continue following ETH closely, But for those smaller caps and meme coins, they may not have the same crazy rallies as the last time. Why? Because now we have way more institutions and governments jumping into the market, and naturally, the money flows into the safer, bigger projects first. So if you are chasing altcoins this cycle, I think the smarter move is to focus on the mainstream coins like Ethereum, Cardano, and other top 20 coins. Alright, let's get back to the Ethereum's chart again. Historically, after ETH breaks the all-time high, altcoin season usually ends within 3 to 6 months. Remember the date January 25, 2021, when ETH broke its previous all-time high at $1,450. It got a pullback for about a week, then had a bull run for 3 weeks straight, sitting consistently above its previous all-time high. So what about Cardano at that time? We can see at the exactly same time, ADA went from 33 cents all the way up to $1.50 in just about 4 weeks. Let's look at VeChain. It did something very similar. So this shows again, ETH is the leading indicator for all the altcoins. Money will first flow into ETH and then into mainstream coins like a Cardano, then into some smaller caps. So in this cycle, when ETH broke its all-time high again on August 24, it got the same pullback just like the last cycle. If ETH can retest and hold above the level in the next week or two, then September could be the real start for altcoin season. Now let's take a look at Bitcoin dominance. In the last cycle, during the same stage, Bitcoin dominance was just moving sideways. So if the same pattern repeats this time, September could mark the shift, and the price of ETH and all altcoin will not go down despite Bitcoin dominance consolidation. This usually only happens during altcoin season. Last, let's talk about the 4-year cycle rule. All of my assumptions in this video are based on we are still having the 4-year cycle this time. If the 4-year cycle still holds, then Bitcoin should peak by the end of 2025, and altcoins should follow with a blow-off top into the year end. Of course, a lot of people think the 4-year cycle may not work anymore, but personally I think this cycle is the first one that institutions and governments piling into the market. They simply don't have the time and the money to fully control the market yet. Maybe in the next one, but not this time. And let me say this clearly, I could be totally wrong. Nobody knows exactly what the future looks like. I'm just using the historical data and the probabilities as a guide. None of this is a financial advice. Please always make your own decisions. Alright, that's it for all. I believe this cycle is still lining up with the last one. Maybe it got delayed by a few weeks, but if ETH can hold above its all-time high again, then September might be the key window for the altcoin season. I think there will be a lot of volatilities in the coming weeks, so be prepared for the price movement. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to click the like button and subscribe to my channel. Let me know in the comment section, when do you think the altcoin season will finally arrive? Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.